What's good? It's your boy Tam Money, and today I'm gonna talk about criminal folk sorcery, which is the magic of criminals who commit crimes and all this other stuff. And it's specific for criminals who use crime saints. Crime saints are popular criminals or criminals who pass away and became saints to certain individuals who practice crime folk magic, is supposedly called, but criminal folk sorcery fits the narrative of this craft. Now, when it comes to criminal folk sorcery, it deals with criminal activity. I mean, of course, it deals with, things that you see in GTA games and stuff like that, but in the magical use and the supernatural use, basically using the occult powers and the occult magic and esoteric understanding of things that you do if you go out there and commit crimes and things of that nature. Now, this ain't the only form of sorcery that I'm gonna come out with that deals with everyday life and people's life that they deal with. There's a separation of average people to folklorist people, or basically individuals, or folk magicians, as I like to call it. So criminal folk sorcery deals with someone who deals with divination and the ways of using dice and stuff like that. Dice is using gambling and street activity and stuff. But criminal folk sorcery deals with the activities of criminal-minded individuals doing criminal things and things of that nature. So what I'm really trying to say, though, is that criminal folk sorcery is the kind of sorcery that deals with criminal activity. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go out there, do such and such and this and that. You know what I'm saying? There's videos going on YouTube, so I can't really explain fully what criminal folk sorcery is, but you deal with, crime saints or saints or criminals who, who passed on and stuff like that, are well-known crime saints that come into thought. You know what I'm saying? You always can get a picture of them off of Google and printing it and put it on your altar and stuff like that. Also, it deals with having altars, being a crime folk magician. It deals with dice divination and things of that nature. And when it comes to criminal folk sorcery, you deal with all them type of things, living this type of lifestyle. So it brings the supernatural understanding of things, and also dealing with the realms where dead homies reside, or where the crime saints reside. There's always a realm for them where they're residing within the astral. It might be in the lower planes, though, like in the lower worlds, because that's where criminal folks will reside in. Like take you to a realm where the dead homies reside or something like that in that matter. But there will be a craft for those who also gangbang and stuff, but this is called for a separation of average people and folk magicians in particular, of separation. You got NPCs and you got avatars. Avatars are the folk magicians, and the NPCs are everyday people who live an average life, who are just average individuals, whether they're atheists or going to, church and things like that in that nature. But when you're dealing with folk magic, you're dealing with the supernaturalism of everything in between. So that's what I'm really trying to say about criminal folk sorcery, because it deals with criminals who deal with magic and witchcraft and use it to commit crimes and things of that nature. And that's what criminal folk sorcery is. It's dealing with criminal saints and criminal activity and all that in that matter, but using magic and divination, some sorts, even astral projection, astrology, to get around things that if it's cool to commit this or commit that. And that's what criminal folk sorcery is really about, is rather you commit this or commit that. But that's what it really come down to with criminal folk sorcery. I mean, I would say a lot more about this, but I don't practice this craft. I'm a hoodoo practitioner. I'm a Negro occultist who deal with the orishas and the lower, mostly them type of spirit beings and stuff in that nature. So I mainly work with Mommy Water in the form of the image I follow holocron fused together into one individual. Follow holocron in this female form, of course, fused into Mommy Water that I deal with as well. I mainly serve Mommy Water, but I still serve Mother Yemajah, and also follow holocron at the same time in the form of Mommy Water. And I do deal with SU and Legua that might deal with this criminal folk sorcery through trickeries and stuff. But the main people you want to connect with is saints of criminals, or crime saints that of that passed on, or who are well known, or in prison of some sorts. Tap into their energy and tap into their atmosphere and things of that nature and that sorts. And that's what they want to say. So this is your boy Tam Money, man. I hope you enjoyed this folk magic edition subject. Look out for more videos like this, and stay tuned. So peace.